Sometimes you need to get knocked down before you can really figure out what your fight is and how you need to fight it. Sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose that God predestined inside of you.
You have a great life in front of you, but your great life is in front of you. It's not behind you. What you did back there ain't got nothing to do with what God got for you. What you did back there was learn the lessons to get you to where you are at this particular moment right here. But what God got for you, do you know, man, that you can actually mess your life completely up? You can jack it all the way up and you can turn around and get it right.
Success breeds contempt. You'll know you're winning when they start hating you.
See, many people, they think that when they face resistance, that somehow now that God has left them. Because if you're not facing resistance, maybe it's an indication that you're going in the same direction as your enemy.
If nobody's hating you over it, it's not big enough. You'll know it's big enough when they start hating you for it. And nothing you do satisfies them. And nothing you do calms them down. That's a sign that you're getting ready to get in a neck-breaking blessing.
Think of it like this. For every peace stealer you allow in your life, you are 20% more likely to live stressed, to have a crisis. I'm asking you to find happy friends. I'm not saying you have to cut people off, never speak to them again. I am saying you should put up some boundaries. You don't have to make a big announcement. Just little by little, spend less and less time with that person. If you don't get the wrong people out of your life, you'll never meet the right ones.
You got to look for the good. You don't have to look for bad in life, but you have to look for the good. Well, my friend really disappointed me, but at least I learned to put my hope in God more than in people.
Get yourself situated. Pick the right location to live in. Get your marriage ready, because God's going to bless you until the devil hates you.
The people who are closest to you need to be stable, happy, responsible people that move you towards your destiny. Like iron sharpens iron, you make each other better. Who do you have in your life? What are you giving your time and energy to? Trying to keep someone happy? Feeling guilty because you can't meet their demands? That's going to wear you out. It's time to make a change. You can't please everyone.
A dream will require integrity. And what others believe about you is never as important as what you believe about you. You know, I got a lot of people who believe a lot of things, but what you believe about you is more important than what people believe about you.
You need to grow, and the only way you're going to grow is when you listen and when you learn. Whenever I find myself in a place where I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, when I feel maxed out of my capacity, I always take that as a sign. I need to get some new advice, some new guidance. Where I'm going is not where I've been. I'm gaining ground. Come on, somebody. I'm gaining ground.
What would your life be like if you decided to become courageous? You know, it takes courage to live. Most people go through life not allowing themselves to step out because they don't want to let go. They don't want to be moved. The courage to face life's whirling wind of contradictions. The courage to love yourself.
Gone through the same process and evolved. You can't sit with somebody who's invested 30 years in and be respected as an equal when you got 3. There are some things only experience can teach you. And until you pay your dues, don't run with horses when you're tired from walking with men.
The brighter the light, the more the heat. The higher God takes you, the more people are going to see you. Sometimes, instead of celebrating you, people will get jealous, try to pull you down. Don't take the bait. It's a distraction. Keep your face set. Stay focused on your purpose.
You got to surround yourself with people who have talents and skills, not just people who love you. I'm glad you love me, but loving me won't bring these fish in. I want to know, can you carry some weight? I'm talking about somebody who can carry the weight when the net is about to break. You are carrying so much weight and so much responsibility that you are at the breaking point. And you can't even tell anybody that you're at the breaking point because you have a Superman complex and you're trying to be there for everybody. But the reality is the weight of what you're doing is breaking your nets.
Do you define yourself by your emotions? Do you define yourself by your status? Do you define yourself by your lowest point? Do you define yourself by your highest achievement? All of that is dangerous. Because the moment you start believing that you are what you do or you are what you went through, there's a bleeding on the inside that happens when your sense of self-worth flows from what you do and what you go through.
You can't become so dependent on people that you're getting your worth and value out of how they treat you. It's easy to become addicted to compliments, addicted to encouragement, addicted to them cheering you on. Now you rely on them to keep you feeling good about yourself, to make you feel approved. Like a drug, if they don't keep you fixed, meet all your expectations, you get discouraged. The problem is you're trying to get from people what only God can give. Your worth, your value doesn't come from another person. It comes from your Creator. If you rely on people, you'll be disappointed. People will let you down. Sometimes people will even turn on you.
You have no idea what's in you. Do you understand that the problem that you're grappling with right now is not even the issue? It's just training for you. The lion that you're fighting with now is not even the issue. God just allowed the lion to come in your life so you'd have something to work on. The lion is not important. It doesn't even matter. God is training you with the lion. God doesn't even care about the lion. He cares about you. He's using the problem to get you ready, to teach you patience, to teach you how to trust it with no money. He's prepping you for the next release of glory so that when folks start walking out, they can walk out if they want to. You say, I know how to do that too.
There's so much we're learning right now. We may not know we've learned it until way on the other side of it. You don't really realize life lessons until later. You know that, right? It's later that you say, oh, it was good for me that I was afflicted. Oh, it's good for me that they told me no. And it's later that we see the lessons. A lot of times it's later that we see the lessons.
Why don't you let the people in your life off the hook? Maybe they did the best they could. They may have made decisions that you don't understand. Feels like it puts you at a disadvantage, but you didn't have to walk in their shoes. Bottom line, nobody owes you anything. God is keeping all the records. He has seen everything that's happened in your life. The injustice, the person that did you wrong, those people cannot pay you back. They cannot make you whole. Only God can.
The lesson of letting go is not only that external events cause us to let go. The way God changes us is transformation from the inside out. Isn't that really relevant while you're stuck inside? That's the way God changes things?
Quit trying to get somebody to apologize, to admit they were wrong, to give you what they don't have. If you'll go to God, He'll bring you out better. He'll make the rest of your life more rewarding, more fulfilling than it would have been if that hadn't have happened in the first place.
You gotta grow. You gotta expand. You gotta know that you're here for a purpose. There are no mistakes. There is a meaning. Even if you haven't found it yet, you must discover it. And you know what? For most people, they don't discover the meaning of their life until their life is over, or until somebody very close to them that they love is about to leave them. You don't have to wait for the pain to discover the meaning.
It first starts with decision on your part. And may I add, well, you should decide. Why let worry continue to take money out of your pocket and bank account? Why let worry any longer keep you from becoming all you can be? Why let it rob you of better friendship, better family relations, better profits, better results? It's a burden you can get rid of. Why not be rid of those sinking, nagging feelings that all is not going to be well, that you can't do it, that it won't work out for the best? Worry is undue concern that takes up too much of your mental and emotional time.
So how will I know when I found the purpose of my life? You decide what it is. You discover it and you decide this is it. Maybe later on I'll refine it. I probably will. But for right now, this is why I'm playing the game of life. This is what it's about. Every day, if I'm just being this way, if I'm just doing these kinds of simple things, then I know I'm on track. I know there's a reason for my existence.
And so although you may believe it to be true about you, these doubts and negative thoughts you have, these were not your original thoughts. That's a powerful thing to understand, because you weren't born this way. You weren't born doubting. You were born perfect. You were born believing you were going to do something great. You were born believing you were going to do something special with your life. As a baby, I promise you, you had no negative self-talk. You had no negative self-doubt. These are external sources. They're somebody else's thoughts they gave you because of how they felt about themselves.
If you're offering words of wisdom to someone in the genuine attempt to help, and they treat that with contempt, then shut up, because you're demeaning your words by throwing them away.
Self-confidence is self-trust. Self-confidence is building a reputation with yourself, that you keep your word to you, that you keep the promises you make to you. Somebody with self-confidence has a reputation with themselves that I do the things I say I'm going to do. And so the cool thing is, self-confidence is an internal game. You do not need external accolades, external admiration in order to build self-confidence. You don't need any of those external forces. It's all done internally. You control this. And you control this by beginning today to keep the promises you make to yourself. It's not good enough just to keep the promises you make to yourself. You must acknowledge it when you do it to you to give yourself credit to create confidence momentum.
Passion is the great energizer. You show me a person with passion, I'll show you a person with energy. You show me a person that lacks passion, I'll show you a person that lacks energy. It's a fact. Passion energizes people. So the question is very simple. What are you passionate about? When you wake up in the morning, do you wake up excited, or do you just wake up? You see, it's that passion to do something, to be something, to change something, to make a difference. That's where the energy comes from.
You can't take that old story into the new identity. One of the things we have to do to create a new identity is to begin to tell a new story. What's your new story? Who are you now? What are you all about now? Where are you going now? What's this new version of you?
If you don't know, you can drastically change your income, change your future, change your health, change your marriage, change everything. If you don't know that, some people then go year after year after year not making much change, simply because they didn't get to the class. And if you just rock along, I'm telling you it's okay. Anybody can live any way they choose, but I'm here to tell all of you that if you wish to, it's possible to make the next 3 years totally different than the last 3.
Change that. It's easy to blame the other person, but start taking ownership for where you are. Are you proud of how you have been living your life? Have you explored your natural talents, your gifts, by enthusiastically trying a variety of activities?
So we must be like life itself. Respond to the people who deserve it by taking the first step. Even God himself says, if you move toward me, I'll move toward you. That's the condition. Now, learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. Now, here's what's the next step. Teach people how to deserve your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of us have so much talent and abilities, we just put them back on the back burner, or just left them aside someplace. Never did anything with them, never brought them out here. What are you sitting on? What gifts are you sitting on? Have you resigned yourself to a life feeling that nothing can be done to change your future or your circumstances?
Some people will not accept the new thing God puts in your heart. They're stuck in what was, while God is telling you what is. It's new levels. It's greater influence. It's uncommon favor. Don't let the fear of what people are going to think keep you in your box.
Your brain literally goes to work on finding the evidence to prove you right. And so that identity, you're constantly reinforcing it. If you believe a certain worth about yourself, that impacts the type of action you're willing to take. So if there's a goal you've got set, it doesn't matter what it is, pick a goal. To the extent that you believe it's consistent with your identity is to the extent that you will make an effort towards it.
You know how strong you are until you have to be strong. Oh, anybody can have faith when you got a job, your marriage is working, you got money in the bank. Oh, you can have faith then. But faith not tested can't be trusted. Listen to me, listen to me.
Desire discovers talent, right? If your why is deep enough, right? So something, you have a dream, you have something you want to do, and you know it's going to change your life. So what's the why? What's the reason you're doing it? Well, I'm doing this because of my kids. I want to be able to express myself in this universe, right? That's your why. So the why will take care of the how. So if you don't have the how, don't worry about it. Leap anyway.
If you don't produce, you won't be happy. Here's number 2, good friends. The greatest support system in the world is good friends. You got to work on that. Spirituality. If you are a believer, here's what you must do. Study, practice, and teach. Whatever's valuable to you, study, practice, and teach.
The other thing is acknowledge your fears and then go into action. Anybody who's ever done anything, who's ever taken a chance, doesn't mean that they are not afraid. Courageous does not mean being the absence of fear. I think that being courageous is willing to do it because that's what you feel and you're going to do it anyhow.
What is it about you that's different than your friends? I know I can do more than what I'm doing. I can have more. See, that's the difference between people who make it and people who don't make it. You have a power in you to overcome anything that you are confronted with.
You trying to convince me or anybody else that you want to get it when you partying all week. What you got the latest iPhone for? Can you technically afford that? See, everything about what you're doing and the moves that you're making is getting in the way of the big picture. You still partying, you still popping bottles with models, you doing the most. You trying to convince everybody around you that you on, but you're not on.
It was good enough for my father, and it's good enough for me. This is the man we ought to ask to use the telephone his father used, and drive his dad's old car, and wear his old clothes, and eat his food, and live in his house. No, what was good enough for my father is not good enough for me. Everything is changing, and the wise man or woman is the one who takes a yes attitude toward life, who looks for and expects change and improvement in every department of life.
And I say to you, you have something special. You have greatness in you. And the road to the life that you want is straight and narrow. Everybody won't see it for you. You got to see it for yourself. And understand and know this, it's straight and narrow. Why? It's lonely at the top.
A lot of us, we don't know where to start. That's number 1. And number 2, we're afraid of taking the leap. Well, what if I leap, fall down, and break something? What if I get hurt? You know, I'm saying you're probably going to get hurt. It's possible. You're probably going to get betrayed. It's possible. But you got to take a leap anyway. You got to jump anyway.
I'm going to give you a recommendation. Turn your damn TV off. Most of the time. Turn your phone off a lot too. So here's the deal. The TV's competing constantly to distract you with stuff that really doesn't matter. Does it really matter what's going on with the Kardashians right now? Don't be so obsessed with them. Be obsessed with your own reality TV program called Your Own Life.
You know, we're all writing a book. What's your book look like? You got a bunch of chapters in your book, but when they close that book, how good was the book? How good was your book? If the ending to my book can be so amazing because of all that was done, all of the things that can be associated with you and your existence become a part of the chapters in your book. So my drive is about my book.
You got to come up with some times in your life that you unplug from this crazy world. Turn your phone off. We live in a world today that's got us so focused on everybody else that we're comparing our life to everybody else's life, and anxiety and fear come whenever you start dwelling on the past and whenever you're afraid of the future.
An anxious and a worried mind is not normal. But you know what? You're going to worry until you finally realize that it's useless. It doesn't help your problem. Doesn't solve your problem. All it is us saying, I think if I think about this long enough and worry about it long enough, I can figure something out. That's not going to work.
The only way that you actually step into happiness and joy is when you put the focus on where you are at and get engaged with the thing that you're doing.
It is a satanic espionage that has come against you for such a time as this, and you're being attacked in ways you don't even understand. You get depressed and you don't even know what you're depressed about. You'll be driving down the road and you feel like, I don't even want to go to work. I don't even want to be me. Look at how extreme it is. It's not just I don't want to go to work today. I'm sick of being me. You feel like crying and you don't even know what you're crying about. It is a satanic attack attacking your mind.
Because after you spent all night spinning, all day spinning, in your head, and what if and it starts with the most innocent thought. It's not, the devil's been at this a long time, sweetie. He's not going to give you a bad thought. He's going to try to give you an innocent thought and get you to take it in the wrong direction. A scenario that on the surface doesn't seem that bad, but it's the way you spin it. It's like Fox News and CNN. It's one story they're telling, but it's spin in different ways. And it's how you spin it that determines how you see it.
Worry is like rocking in a rocking chair all day. It keeps you busy but gets you nowhere. At the end of the day, you'll still be in the exact same spot. Just go back.
What's the old story you keep repeating? Maybe it's not a success. Whatever you've achieved up to this point, that story you keep talking about, every second you spend in that old story about what you've achieved, your degree, some business you had, every time you live in that story, you're stripping time and focus from the new story. What's the new story you're telling yourself? You can't have a new identity without a new story.
What are the things that you need to let go? Some things that have cost you pain, that's stifling your growth and development. What are those things? What is it that you need to do to begin to upgrade your skills or your knowledge? As you begin to look at yourself and ask some of these questions, what is something that you're good at? Let's think about these things. What would you do if you had 1 year to live and guaranteed success in anything you decided to do?
Don't waste another minute trying to convince someone to like you, to come see you. If you have to talk them into it, they are not for you. They are a distraction. It's not your job to straighten them out. Let God fight your battles. Don't fight battles that are not between you and your destiny. You're not supposed to engage in every conflict. You have to keep your face set. Most of the things that come against us are simply distractions.
Now you can keep on the same path for the next couple of years as you have the past two. But if you need to make some changes, I'm telling you can start doing it today so that the next 2 years will be drastically different than the last two. And anybody who wishes to do that can. And you can do it between ages 40 and 43. You can do it between ages 60 and 62. Any 2 years, any 5 years that you wish to drastically change from the previous 5, you can do it.
You're not the nut you used to be, but you're not the tree you're gonna be. But until you learn how to appreciate where you are in the process, you won't get the power to evolve to your ultimate destiny. It's not what's happening to you that's hurting you. It is the threat of what could happen to you that is stealing every good day you got. You can't enjoy the good days because the enemy is threatening you, so you don't get any peace when things are well, and you don't get any peace when things are bad. Because when things are good, you're worried about them going bad. And when they're bad, you're dealing with what bad happened, and you haven't had any rest. You've had sleep, but you haven't had rest. You're tired when you get up. You're tired when you go down. You are up under attack.
Because whatever you identify as the source of your stress determines what you consider the source of your peace. And that's why I don't like to blame people for my stress. Because if people brought me the stress, then I need people to change for me to have peace. But I'm past the point in my life of wanting for people to have to act a certain way, for me to have peace in my own heart.
Every morning when we wake up, we need to empty out anything negative from the day before. Somebody offended you at work. It's easy to let that offense stay. Feels good to carry around a grudge. But you have to be disciplined. Say, no, I am not giving this offense any room They hurt you once. Don't let them continue to hurt you by holding on to the offense. Being offended is not harming them, it's harming you. It's taking up space you need for the good things that move you toward your destiny.
It's just not happening as fast as I thought it would. I thought by now I would have had the promotion. I thought by now that I would have had a breakthrough. I thought by now I would have paid off my bills. Oh, but friends, I wish today that we had a pantry door measuring stick for your faith. If you could look back throughout the years, what you would discover is that mark by mark, you have been maturing. You have been growing. It's just been little by little. I know you're not where you want to be yet, but baby, you have come a long way. You're growing gradually.
We need to grow emotionally. You can't keep crying about the thing you cried about last year. You can't keep complaining about the thing you complained about last year. You have to learn. You're growing. You can't keep being overwhelmed by what you were overwhelmed with last year.
What is no longer needed? What emotion, what anxiety, what thought, what belief, what person is no longer needed in my life? I never tell the old story. I don't like telling the old story. I'm constantly trying to write the new script, become the new character in my life. It could be the new beliefs I have. It could be the new story, but I'm constantly retelling a new story all the time. I'm constantly obsessed with writing the next chapter of my life, not reading the previous ones.
It's one thing to cry about that last year, but you've grown. You learned that lesson. Don't go backwards, move forwards.
You're in love with tomorrow, but you're neglecting today. And when God sees you neglecting today, He will not give you tomorrow. Until you are faithful over the few, you cannot be ruler over the many.
There are going to be times when your circumstances are inconsistent with your dreams. And in those moments, you have two choices. Number one, you can reduce your life to your present circumstances. Give up on it. Or you can believe your life will catch up with your dream if you won't quit and won't give up. Never allow circumstances to change the dream God has put in your heart. Never.
If it works, it's obsolete. Because whatever it is, it will be obsolete before long. And this is something I think each of us should check ourselves against regularly, weekly, if not daily. We should ask ourselves, what am I still doing the old way? Have I dug myself a rut or two that I'd be better off to climb out of?
The next time something comes against you, ask yourself, is this a battle worth fighting? Or is it simply a distraction? That coworker that leaves you out, doesn't give you credit, do you think they can stop your destiny? That somehow they're more powerful than what God has ordained for you?
It is a spiritual attack that comes against you in spiritual ways. And because you are up under attack in your spirit, in your mind, in your emotions, you are lonely. No matter who you're around, no matter how many people know you, you end up alone because you are up under a private battle that you can't talk about.
Just take maybe 2 or 3 minutes and ask yourself, what do I need to do today to challenge me, to reach my potential, fulfill my strengths and the purpose that I have in my life? If you challenge yourself and follow through on it, it'll be the greatest challenge and give you the highest return of any challenge that you'll ever receive.
You must prepare for success, even if there is no indication of it. You must prepare for success, even if you have become accustomed to failure. Take the time to prepare, and prepare hard.
The greatest value in life is not a bank account. The greatest value in life is not a car. The greatest value in life is this. Make a note. Living a good life. In the midst of all of our achieving and building and growing, helping other people, being a part of society and the country and the world, being all of this stuff. Here's what you must figure out all of your life, how to continually live a good life.
I know there's something in you. I know something about you. And there's something in you saying, I want more. I want more. I want to be happier. I want to fall in love again. I want to do more than where I am right now. You never know. This might be the day.
Most people will not challenge the unknown. They won't just step out there. See, there are certain things that's got to be in place. They got to see it all together. And life isn't like that. That's not how you grow. So as you look at your life, as you begin to look toward the future, you're saying, I'm not getting what I want. Begin to know that whatever it takes for you to create that, you got that in you. You got that.
Identify your gift and get busy with it. God gave all of you a gift. It is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your gift. Get busy at that. He put that gift inside of you. He didn't hide it under a rock or put it under the mountain or put it on the mountain somewhere. He put the gift in you. That's how you become successful. Identify your God-given gift, what he gave you at birth, and get busy with it.
Now, some of you that said, you know what? I'm taking a chance on me. I'm going to build something for me. This is the entrepreneur's economy. Don't give up on that. Hold that vision tenaciously. Through all the frustrations, through all the failures, I've built my business on rejections, on who do you think you are?
When you look at your life and start asking yourself a question, what does my life look like right now? Does it look like something I want to be in? Ask yourself that. What does your life look like? And what's the benefit of holding on? What's the benefit of being afraid? What's the benefit of not trusting yourself? What's the benefit of staying right where you are, a place that you don't like to be? What's the benefit? Don't let no's intimidate you. Don't let not knowing where to start intimidate you. Leap anyway.
Of the 5 things that you would like to do if you have the courage to do, I want you to pick one thing, and here's how to set it up for yourself that will help free you and get you unstuck. What is the worst thing that can happen if you do it? But let's say going into business for yourself, or changing careers, or getting a divorce. Do the worst case scenario. Now, when you do the worst case scenario, you write those things down, the worst things that you fear would happen. When you name your fears, that puts you in control. What are you afraid of?
I think there's a different level for you. I think there's a different level for you to get obsessed, crazy, laser focused. I say all the time, our obsessions become our possessions. When you're laser obsessed focused, your obsession distracts you from what you're currently doing, not the other way around. You're not really obsessed with it if you're easily distracted from it. And so the only way we get to that ultimate version of ourselves is by replacing ourselves and growing all the time. This has to become an addiction for you. For too many of us, we like to grow. And every time you don't make it an emergency, it's not a crisis, you're not in a hurry, you never get there. And the truth is, whether you know it or not, you are either growing or you are dying.
Get better. There isn't any of us that can't get better starting a few steps from here at that convention. I'm telling you, for things to get better, you got to get better. Don't ask for it to change out there. Ask for you to change here. Don't ask for a more favorable wind. We call that naive. Just ask that you can get wiser and stronger and better. Learn how to handle the seasons better. Let's go through them. Just get better at handling the winters. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself.
We need to grow. You need to grow, and it needs to become an intention of yours. It needs to become an obsession of yours. You can't always acquire the things you want, but you are in control of acquiring the next version of you. And that requires being uncomfortable. That requires growth.
Get stronger. You can develop the muscle. You can develop the courage muscle. You can develop the dedication muscle. You can get stronger in style and personality, the ability to cope, the ability to handle with anything that happens, no matter what happens.
What is your wake-up call? What is controlling your thoughts? Is it the television set? feeding your mind images of what life should be? Is it drugs or alcohol numbing your brain and diminishing your desires? Or is it weakness, a lack of discipline that prevents you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish?
If you quit, whatever you were trying to accomplish can never happen. If you quit, there is no chance of it popping back up again, coming back later. Quitting is guaranteed failure. When you're trying, you're going to fail. You have to make sure that your dreams and goals are so big that not accomplishing them is not an option.
I'm not saying that there aren't things in life that we just have to do. There are. But what I am saying is ask questions. Don't believe everything that you're told, and don't follow the path just because it's there. Don't get in line just because other people are. Get up. Be conscious of what is creeping into your mind. What are you letting in there? What is forcing itself in there? You have only one life, so don't waste it.
Take inventory of what you're giving space to. Life is too short to go through it with negative things holding us down.
Every action and every discipline today is a link in the chain. Every action and every discipline in the future is a link. When you can see that every link in the chain will eventually lead you to the things you want most out of life, then you won't grow discouraged or impatient with today. When you can see where you're going through visual chain thinking, even on the toughest days, you'll keep building your ambition by knowing where you're going, not just where you are today.
It's easy to go around worried about our future, stressed over our finances. We're tempted to live guilty because of past mistakes. We wonder why we don't enjoy life, why we can't sleep at night. It's because our mind is cluttered. You weren't created to live guilty, bitter, upset. If you're going to reach your destiny, you have to clear out the clutter. You can't stop negative things from coming, but you can keep them from staying. You don't have to hold on to it.
Your plans and goals are your visual chain, knowing where you're going before you get there. Develop a plan, a game plan. Here's the first rule for your game plan of life. Don't start your day until you have it finished. Don't begin your activities of the day until you know exactly what you plan to accomplish. Don't start your day until you have it planned. The value is the fruitful result of discipline, not hope. Once you've mastered the art of planning your day, you're ready for the next level.
When we make mistakes, guilt will come, telling us how we don't measure up. You can hold on to it, go around down on yourself, or you can let it go. You have to be proactive when it comes to keeping your mind in peace, because all through the day there's clutter. There's noise, there's jealousy, there's hurts, there's offense. They may come, but you don't have to hold on to it.